Groups of people are gathered around that cross. In your imagination, can you go back in time to that hill outside Jerusalem? To that dusty, awful scene 2,000 years ago? If you were to take a look around in your mind's eye, who do you see? Certainly you would see the Roman soldiers. Can you visualize them with their leather uniforms and swords at their sides? Maybe you see one group there on the ground playing dice. Another soldier standing there with a bored look on his face. Some of them have become callous to the cruelty they are dishing out. They're just doing their job, doing their duty. They don't want to think about it too much. What a danger that can be. Just going along, getting a little numb to the pain, starting to accept things just because society says so. These Roman soldiers can seem like villains in our story, sure, but maybe they're characters who can stir up some challenge for us to keep our eyes open for the hurt and pain in our world. Pan around in your imagination, the different clusters of people there at this event outside the Jerusalem city walls. Maybe you see over there, there's a small group yelling. They're shaking their fists. They're heckling. They have angry words. Their target of insults are the people being punished. What are they so angry about? Or is it somehow entertaining to yell at convicted criminals on their way out? To vent at others? Find someone to put your blame on? It seems like to them the weakness and helplessness of Jesus bothers these people. This is a group that we, the congregation, that's our line in the dramatic reading. A line that none of us likes to say. Crucify, crucify him. Can't we play a different role? So we might look around for the disciples of Jesus. That would be more natural for us, right? We're followers too. But the members of his band are a little hard to find. They seem painfully absent. It appears that many have gone into hiding. I guess that's understandable. They love being there when Jesus is teaching about love and spreading his healing. They can't get enough of him, but now things have gotten tough. The arrests have started. This is getting risky. So some deny they even know him. Some flee the scene. You and I are not really at risk for being arrested for our faith. But there might be a time for any of us when our faith becomes inconvenient, or maybe very inconvenient. It might cause us to lose money, or status, or friends. We may have to give up some things we want, maybe even our wills. We try to align ourselves with God's will. There might be some risk and even some cost to being this kind of follower. There are things that we might be tempted to hide from. So in your imagination, go around. Are there other groups there? Can you see a group of women? Maybe dressed in black. Some of them have their eyes closed and their hands raised to heaven. What are they doing? They're crying out. They're mourning, lamenting out loud, letting out their feelings of grief. They call out to God if in the face of hurt and injustice, they cry out. It could be easy to underestimate the need for lamentation. And yet there's a whole book of the Bible that has that title, Lamentation. How important it can be to call out to God honestly with our pain and grief that's in our hearts. It's not enjoyable, but needed. We might say, as we open our eyes, as we open our hearts to what is going on in society, some things are going to make us sad. Doesn't make us any less dedicated to change what we can. But there can be a time for any of us to feel sorrow about what is going on in our world and cry out. Maybe we can turn our attention now to the 3 crosses there in your mind that are out there in the afternoon sun. In Luke's gospel, the figures on each side of Jesus have a conversation with him. The 2 convicted criminals each want something from Jesus. The first thief is demanding, Jesus, if you're so great, get us out of here. This thief is in agony. He wants a rescue. He wants to get out of this mess now. Jesus, things are bad. Solve this problem. Fix this situation. Yeah, I get that impulse. The second thief, by tradition, has the name Dismas. And Dismas has a request, not a demand, more like a prayer. He turns to Jesus and says, Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom. Remember me. Don't forget me. Bring me along. These words have echoed down through the generations, and they can become our desire, our request, our prayer, our chant. It's interesting what then Jesus doesn't say to Dismas. Jesus says, remember me when you come into your kingdom. And Jesus doesn't say, okay, well, let's jump down and get you baptized, because that's the only way you'll be saved. He doesn't say, well, now here's a list of things that you've got to believe, and be sure that you believe all of these things if you want to get into my glorious kingdom. He doesn't weigh all the good things or bad things that Dismas has done. Well, let's look at that and make sure you're worthy to be included. Those are all the ways we humans, we churches, tend to list the requirements of anybody getting into heaven. No. Jesus just says, today you will be with me in paradise. To an unbaptized, Jewish, convicted criminal. Jesus seems not so much concerned about the rules of who is in and who is out, but concerned with a desire to bring people into glory. And so we turn to the central figure of this day, that man suffering on the cross. Luke's gospel has a unique set of Christ's last words. Jesus looks out, hanging there, and he offers a prayer to God. Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing. To the soldiers, to the angry mob, to the wailing women, to the fearful disciples, but certainly to more people than that. Down through time, around the globe, and to us. Jesus offers a heartfelt prayer to God for God to forgive us. That there be no barrier between us and the divine. Grace flows out, mercy and generosity from this man, even while he's suffering. Can you feel it for them? Are we open to that grace and forgiveness pouring out to us? And then his final words, according to Luke, into your hands I commend my spirit. Christ gives himself over in trust. He surrenders himself in faith to God, becoming a model for us gathered around his cross.